North.
I don't know where exactly.
Alikuwa Mumias akakuja North. Tukana North juzi haiko hapa.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ayok TV. We are coming live from Lodwar, the cradle of mankind, Turkana County. And this evening, as we promised, we are bringing live conversation live from Lodwar and right in our studios at Ayok TV. Our offices are based here in Woitorong at Kanam Kemer Ward, Turkana Central. You've seen on our walls, we've been discussing about hosting one and only Commissioner Leonid Ashindu. He is one of us. I mean one of us because this is where roots to where he is right now, at the helm of power at the SRC, a commission in the national government. And again, why are we having him today? It is because he is coming back to give light. And remember, St. Kevin Secondary School is a mixed-day school based in Turkana that was formed in 1993 by the late Bishop John Mahon and an Irish Catholic missionary from St. Patrick Missionary Society with the intention of assisting the poor but bright students within the region. That and much more will be part of our conversation this evening. I will be your host, Emmanuel Ekwom. Stay tuned and stay connected. And of course, in case you have any opinion or any suggestion as we move on with our conversation, call for 50 or drop your comments right on our page at Ayok TV Kenya. And also don't forget, we will also be receiving calls live on Facebook or on YouTube. I know there are so many people who are tuned to hear from us this evening. If I may acknowledge a few people, like Naspan, Engineer Naspan, amesema nimsalimie commission. Secondly, without forgetting, I'm also told there is quite a number of people following our conversation from the Turkana Professional Association. Karibuni sana, and feel free to share your comments at the tail end of our conversation. All right, to our guest this evening. Karibu sana, Bwana Commissioner.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Karibu sana at IOC TV.
I feel at home now.
Okay, you feel at home?
Yes.
Right now or even before?
Even before.
Okay.
But now, because I'm here physically.
Profile guest in our studio, it was sometime last year when we were hosting one of the commissioners from the Ateke region during the Turkana Cultural Festival. And it is always our privilege, people of high caliber in our studio, and it also has some trust in what we do as a station. Otherwise, back to our conversation this evening. How do you feel?
I feel very nice.
Yes.
I feel proud.
Mm-hmm.
I feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
Tracing back my roots.
Yes.
I was here first about 25 years ago.
Okay.
When I came to pursue my education.
Mm-hmm.
My father used to work in this county.
Okay.
As an education officer.
Mm-hmm.
For many years.
Mm-hmm.
And by that virtue, most of us in our family schooled here. Some in Lodwar Primary,
mm-hmm.
Lodwar Girls,
mm-hmm.
Airite Academy,
mm-hmm.
and myself, St. Kevin's.
Okay.
I did my Form 4 here.
Mm-hmm.
I also did my basic computer packages
in Turkana. Okay.
So I've come to trace back my roots.
Actually, before we share about your life then in Turkana, like when you had the interest of coming to Turkana, but before you arrived today, some of your classmates and schoolmates who are there right at the airport to receive you and to give you a warm welcome. Can you give us your experience the moment you landed to Turkana? What came through your feelings?
I'll start a step back.
Mm-hmm.
When this trip was planned,
okay,
it came like a joke. And as it was even up to last evening,
mm-hmm.
it was like a joke.
Oh.
Until my air ticket was paid by Kariuki.
Okay.
And he sent me the air ticket around 9 p.m. yesterday night.
That was quite late in the night.
That's when I confirmed that through the Turkana community,
mm-hmm.
need me in Turkana.
Okay.
And I was very much excited.
Mm-hmm.
And as I came, when I landed at the airport, mm-hmm. I didn't know that there are people waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Only for me to get, and I checked out to find very many familiar faces. Mm-hmm. In fact, I asked that question.
Okay.
Would I be able to shake and hug all these people? To my surprise, mm-hmm. maybe just to say
yes.
that why I say that I was excited,
mm-hmm.
in the flight we had the former Senator Turkana County.
Okay, Dr. Malaki. I also saw him. Mm-hmm.
But when we all disembarked from the aircraft,
yes.
he had nobody to receive him.
Oh.
While me, as a son of the soil,
yes.
was moved by a crowd.
A crowd, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was a convoy of vehicles,
mm-hmm.
high-end vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, if I didn't come with my official vehicle
yes,
or any
yes.
other personal vehicle,
mm-hmm.
but there's a convoy of high-end vehicles
mm-hmm.
waiting to receive one of their own.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you were actually overjoyed.
I was overjoyed.
Yes. Okay. Now, the moment you landed at the airport and, give us the itinerary, how it went, and finally how you ended up
so
here.
I landed at around 8:30,
mm-hmm.
a scheduled time.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we had pleasantries at the airport
mm-hmm.
with my classmates, mm-hmm. majority, mm-hmm. then the entire schoolmates, former schoolmates, mm-hmm. some of whom I know, mm-hmm. others I may not have known because they came before me.
Yes.
But they all came in unison.
Mm.
From there, we went to a classmate hosted us, all of us,
mm-hmm.
for morning breakfast.
Yeah.
And then eventually, as scheduled, we went to St. Kevin's,
mm-hmm.
my alma mater,
mm.
where we had a lot of engagement with the staff, the mm-hmm. board of management, and eventually,
mm-hmm.
By coincidence, I don't know if it was coincidence or it was planned,
mm-hmm.
the school was hosting its cultural day.
Yeah.
And we participated and partook some of the activities that were there. We danced with them, the traditional dance, Turkana dance, known as Edonga. We also had a lot of presentations and creativity. And I was happy to go back to St. Kevin's 23 years later.
Okay. Now, going to that question now, what ran through your mind as you returned to St. Kevin's? You know, the very place you began your journey, the moment you entered into that compound, what actually came into your back?
One, there are people that came to my mind, in personalities.
Yes, yes.
One is Brother Louis Calmel, who made us what we are. Louis Calmel was hospitable to us.
Okay.
He gave us all that we required to achieve what we wanted to achieve. Then the deputy to that particular time was Mr. Kosgei. Fortunately, the administration block is as is then, as it was then.
Yeah, nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Even the paintings?
Painted. And by the way, that one now touched me.
Okay.
That as a community, as an alumni, we have a lot to do for that particular school. Just to take you back, what also came to my mind is that in our year, for many years, St. Kevin's was a small school, and it still is a small school. And in our year, the year 2002, we managed those times. We were number 89 nationally for the first time and last time.
Okay.
In Kenya.
In Kenya.
In Kenya, yes. Then the same year, we also had bet.
Okay.
Turkana, Lodwar High. It's a very big achievement to us because a small school beating an equivalent of a national school now.
I can imagine.
So those are the memories that came to my mind. And I also met people I had not met, my classmates I had not met for the last 23 years.
Who are those? Maybe you can mention them. They are following
Isaac Kariuki.
There
is Onyango Frederick.
Yes.
There is, who else? The ladies, Pamela Kagendo. Stanley. Lechodo.
I know you have quite a lot to talk about, especially those you have mentioned and maybe more, who are part of the 2002. Did you ever imagine that a boy from a small school in Turkana would... Yes.
Not at all. Not in my wildest dreams.
Okay.
I never imagined, and especially looked down upon by our peers from Turkana Girls, our peers from Lokitang Boys, our peers from Kakuma Boys, our peers from Katilu Boys, our peers of the mighty Lodo High School.
Okay.
We were not playing into the league by then. So for me to be where I am today is a great honor to the Turkana community and to St. Kevin's in particular.
Okay. Now, how did your upbringing in Turkana shaped your worldview, like work ethics or even resilience? I know in this one you will have to talk now about when you came to Turkana first time, and your hand was held by someone. You were taken to St. Kevin's for school, and like you saw the environment to yourself. I don't know how you imagined at that time, how the environment looked at. For you. So can you tell us your journey when first you stepped into Turkana and you ended up at St. Kevin's?
So as I said before, I joined Turkana, St. Kevin's Lodwar in January 2021. It got me by surprise. I'd never been in such a kind of an environment from birth. The place was hostile to the extent that it was too hot.
Okay.
Bare. Thorns all over. Because now in that case we didn't have shoes. We are putting on sport shoes. So the thorns will prick us. So but eventually I learned that the more you stay here,
the more you become resilient.
Then water was an issue. We didn't have water.
Okay.
Majority of my classmates and schoolmates, I can say, were from needy families. Even food, a meal was a problem. Even water was a problem. And the only thing that I realized people hate here was rain. When it rained, yes, people didn't want rain. When it rained, people were complaining.
Why?
Because it was flooding all over, and the manyatas were flooded.
Okay.
So those are the things very unique. And for somebody to come from such an environment and such a background and achieve is a very big plus. But today we are joking with my classmates and saying,
Okay.
we used to study up to 12:30,
Mm.
and we were competing with people in the other part of the country who go to class up to 5 in the evening.
Imagine.
And we were competing.
With a favorable weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but when I came back,
Yes.
at least the weather is better off.
Mm.
Trees have been planted. That time it was
Okay.
too bare. Now trees are planted.
Yes.
There's tarmac all over. Those stones are no longer there. I can say it's thanks to devolution. I think for the last 10, 13, 14, 15 years of devolution, there's a lot of tremendous development in
Okay.
Turkana.
Yeah, we're talking about the infrastructure then at St. Kevin's Secondary School. You know, before I was talking to someone and was actually giving us the experience how the place was so bare. And then you've even spoken about the place was so bushy. Talking about the discipline, I'm just bringing about the aspect how you be the environment built your resilience and how you became so, you know, strong to the hardship here and to becoming who you are today.
One, I'll start by the school motto.
Okay.
We were encouraged by Brother Louis on, and the school motto was small things grow. In harmony, small things grow. So as we joined, we lived that motto.
Okay.
We were determined, and we were associated with the 3 Ds. Determination, discipline, diligence.
Okay.
The other one was, did I say discipline?
Yeah.
There were 3 Ds. There were 4 Ds that moved us. And the motto, the school motto, also drove us to aspirations.
In the harmony, small things
And
grow.
Brother Luis is a cry call.
Okay.
You shall never give up. So we never gave up. Amidst all those challenges, we never gave up.
The tagline was
Never give up. We'll walk, we'll study. Now I'll talk about our class,
Okay.
2002 class. There was no boarding facilities, but we'll study very late at night.
Okay.
Walk back to our villages at night.
Okay.
Amidst very many other risks, crossing riverbeds with water
Okay.
at night, wake up very early morning. So the environment within St. Kevin's and Lodwar, by extension, gave us a lot of resilience.
Okay.
So we persevered all that, and through determination and hard work and working smart. And also the teachers were welcoming, because at that time, the missionaries were still in charge of the school. So they were all available for us. If you want food, if you want uniform, whatever need you will have, you'll need, then the missionaries will be able to provide.
Okay.
Therefore, that one gave us a lot of endurance. And therefore, that's how we managed to succeed.
Okay.
And I am not sure if that's still practiced now, but we'll have to establish. I'm still around. Tomorrow we are going back. Monday we'll see, just to establish what are the needs and challenges. If they're the same with ours. There are things about even mode of transport.
Yeah.
I'm happy today I saw a bus, a school bus,
Yes,
that the
yes.
school is enjoying. As we are transported like sheep, cattle, in trucks.
Okay.
When you are going for
Music festivals, maybe
football,
symposiums.
we'll stand from here to Kakuma to Lokitang in a truck, standing, open, uncovered, just in case there is sunshine, all the way to Lokitang. So the life was very hostile in terms of the school infrastructure. Secondly, is about, unlike most schools down country, the schools here don't have grass. So we'll play football, handball. I used to play handball in the school. Whatever games, we will play them barefoot with field of sand. We'll endure all that.
Okay.
And that's how we are able to score and win our tournaments with the neighboring mighty schools.
Okay. Like Lodwar High School,
Lodwar High School.
Rukana Girls.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to mention but a few. So now, were there moments in what you've just spoken about where you almost gave up? Like you said, Appa, you know, I don't think I'll, you know, keep on going. Are there some, you know, if maybe you can cite on some of the memories that almost, that almost made you give up in life?
As a person,
Yes.
I may say no. Could be my classmates may have such kind of moments. One, because one of my upbringing I've been brought about in terms of endurance, my experience from childhood, and secondly, I had a very harsh father. and my father was a disciplinarian. So giving up was not an option.
Okay, okay.
So basically, you had to endure.
So sometimes it depends with your background.
Secondly, why I couldn't give up is because of the accommodative teachers we had,
Okay.
led by Brother Louis Kalman and Mr. Kosgei, among other teachers. 3 is about the hospitality of the Turkana people. My friends, majority of our Turkanas. In case of any challenge, you'll go to one of them, they'll sort you out.
Okay.
Finally, it's about my classmates. We were in the team that we had in terms of groupings really encouraged us.
Okay.
One subject, when I came to Turkana, I was very poor in mathematics. And this is just one example.
Yeah, I wanted to come there because that was a special one, even from from your speech today when you were addressing the students. You did mention that you, at the beginning of your high school, you are not good at mathematics, and you even cited example of a few elements. Now, speaking about that, from what you mentioned today, what actually gave you momentum to scoring the best in English, in mathematics, and yet at the primary level you are very
So I'll say that I used to get my first terms, my first periods in St. Kilda, I used to score E's in mathematics. And today I saw my mathematics teacher who took me through all my entire lifespan in St. Kevin's, and I became emotional.
Okay.
Because he's the reason why I am here. In terms of having passed mathematics.
Who is the teacher?
Mr. Kamoni.
Douglas Kamoni.
Douglas Kamoni. He's still as young as he was then. I've grown bigger and older than him. I wonder what wisdom he uses. But he's the reason why I passed mathematics, and by extension, all subjects. Because when you fail mathematics, the chances of failing other subjects is very high because of the analytical skills of mathematics.
Okay.
He was too determined. If there's anybody who did, and I said today, who did punishment, and the punishment in this case was uprooting palm trees, or rather in this case we call them mukoma. I did many of them. Of course, majority were about indiscipline, noise making, but there are those that were because of mathematics, having not finished the assignment or having failed mathematics.
Okay.
And through that, I was able, and Mr. Kamoni was very determined, not only on me, but on all my classmates.
Okay.
That we all now eventually improved our scores in mathematics. Finally, my class. They were friends of mine who are very good in mathematics. Daniel Luchok,
Okay.
Fred Konyango, Naomi Mwangi, Anna Muria. So what Mwalimu did, Mr. Kamoni, he distributed them amongst us.
Okay.
To be able to lift our scores. And so I can say those are the reasons why I never gave up.
Okay.
And we never gave up as a class.
And you lifted the tagline of the school, never give up.
We never gave up.
Okay.
And that was a clarion call from
Brother
Louis Kalman.
Okay.
Yes.
So now to end up that part section of Roots and Rise. Now, how did you find yourself here? Because there must be, the reason why you came from home and you ended up at St. Kevin's. What actually who brought you to Turkana then?
Then was my father, as I said. My father was an education officer.
Okay.
Basically, most of the time he used to work in western part of Kenya, but eventually around mid-2000, he was transferred to Lodwar.
Okay.
He worked in various parts of Lodwar, Lorgum, eventually finished at Lodwar Central. So at that time, I was schooling at a school called St. Peter's Boys. Mumias. Then my scores were very poor, with also some other family issues.
Okay.
Not meant for camera at times.
Okay.
So then my father asked me the options of either repeating at St. Kevin's or St. Peter's, going to my local Manyala secondary school, or going with him in Turkana. I chose to repeat in St. Peter's, but my father refused.
Okay.
So he brought me to St. Kevin's with him, together with my other siblings.
For what reason? The reasons that...
The reason was that he wanted to manage us.
Oh, okay.
Because there, he was here and we are there with the mother. So he thought that that's the reason why we are not performing well. So the encouragement was that we become where he is, being a disciplinarian and an academician.
So he wanted to bring a man in him.
Yes. And that's how we came up here.
Okay.
And when he came here, I didn't know which school I was going to join. Then eventually, I was taken to St. Kevin's.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was barely around 7 years after the start of the school.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Now, I understand there could be so many other challenges you overcame along the way. But now, after you are O-level, after you are Form 4 at St. Kevin's, what next?
In 2002, in fact that year, I was lucky that Mr. Kosge gave him his classes to did up to 2003 after Form 4, where I enrolled for computer studies in the same school, but I was teaching. Though I was well in mathematics, geography, and business.
Okay.
So I used to teach those subjects at St. Kevin's. Then eventually I left for home, where now my father advised me to... I had been called to do Bachelor of Arts in the university. I need to go to do technical education.
So that was after attaining what grade?
A B.
Oh, you were under B playing at St. Kevin's. Then in 2002?
2002.
Okay.
So from there, my father advised me, told us,
okay,
go do construction. So because now I could, I could join university to do engineering because of my grades.
Okay.
So he told me to start from a diploma. Which I finished in 2006. From there then, on my own, I sold a phone, acquired some few shillings, and moved to Nairobi. I arrived in Nairobi, then there's a friend on site. He was a foreman.
Okay.
I can mention his name. He's called Stephen Oyuga. Was my class. I'm still waiting for him.
When did you arrive in
that
Nairobi?
is in March 2007.
Oh, okay.
So that's about
14 years
14,
ago.
15 years ago. So I'm still waiting for him.
Hey.
I've never seen him.
So he has never arrived in Nairobi?
He has never, he's there, but he has never arrived where... I thank him for having made sure. He's the reason why I am here.
Okay.
Because
he brought you out from the hood,
yes,
from the village.
Comfort zone. Tell any relative of mine. So I stayed in the streets.
Okay.
So the soldiers, the security guards I was with, are the ones who instead of staying there with the cold and there's nowhere to sleep, I go to the nearby, this an eatery.
Okay.
Where I'll go now, wash dishes and sleep on the table.
Okay.
Be eating only. You need money. So they advise me now. I go to Marikiti and not Kikomba, but Mudurwa, where I became a porter, moving,
transporting,
wares,
luggage.
Yes, regarding luggage. So then eventually. Father was not poor,
okay,
but I wanted just to chart my own path. But so my family didn't know where I am. I told them anytime, but then they couldn't reach me also. I didn't have a phone.
Okay, you sold the one you had.
Yes, to get transport. I had to look for a relative of mine.
Okay,
a cousin of mine. Then I called my father. Told him I want to go back to school. Diploma. So I wanted to do another diploma. So he asked me which course. I told him I want to do education, diploma in education.
Okay.
So I enrolled for 2 courses simultaneously. KTTC, Kenya Technical Teachers College, and Kenya Poly, which I pursued, but so that to support, I had to look for work to do because my and painting them. Okay. But at no cost, of course, because he has given you a roof and food. Yeah, yeah. So I said, now this is not life I want to live. So some of the money that I had saved then, I used it to start hawking wares.
Okay. For someone else?
No, mine. Sweets, and cigarettes.
Okay.
That's two. In Nairobi, there's a place called Jacaranda. Jacaranda, that field where you see the Nuro Kangas and yes, that place.
In Eastlands.
In Eastlands. I was staying in Amabati's shanty. Then I was selling those wares.
Okay.
So that is 208, 209. Then, lucky enough, as I continued going to school.
And that was when the post-election violence was.
So after that, then
208.
So that time I was in Nairobi.
Okay.
And then eventually, as I was in college, KTTC, West Prison for interviews. That's when now communication came back. February, end of February, that I was successful.
Oh, okay.
I was taken as a specialist in building construction. So at that time, I didn't know that I'm going to divide my courses in Kibit, Kenya Poly, so that I can now go for the work.
Okay.
But when I went for this job,
okay.
So my father told me, no, go back to class. Don't go for that job.
So by then you had acquired a phone?
No, yes, of course, after that. That is many years later. Then I acquired a phone from my savings of business and those hawking things.
Yes.
It was a small. Phones were about not much expensive.
Yeah, something around 3,000.
3,000, yes. So then with my letter, but eventually he called me and told me, my son, I've consulted. Then just go for that job. But go back to Ruiru for training for 9 months. I finished and graduated, or I passed out on September 22nd. I was transferred to Committee Prison. I worked there for a year. My officer in charge. But before then, before I graduated, I had an issue. At reception month, I had an issue with my I didn't receive. So one day during the parade session, the commandant said, if you know you have not received your good conduct, to my office. So most people didn't go. Me, I went. I explained myself. So why my good conduct did not come is because while in Kisumu Polytechnic, I was in remand for Kadiaga for 3 months.
So you were spotted as a riotist?
Yes, I was a student leader then.
Okay.
So I had a case. So similarly, the case has not been terminated. Having been a student, I was cleared through commandant. I was cleared by DCI.
Okay.
And that's how in 2 weeks' time my good conduct appeared. So then I graduated. I was posted in the industry area. Then finally, committee. So in committee, I worked there for a year.
Okay.
And told me I'm not in the right place. I should look for a better job.
Okay.
So she could bring us to Minister of Education, Minister of Public Works. I went to private sector. Eventually, I joined National Construction Authority as a trainer, where I trained to date.
Okay.
I have moved the ladder. I went to the Mega as a youth training officer. I've worked with the UN, and Turkana was one of the counties. And I was surprised that during the interview, I had applied for a job that required a master's. I only had a diploma by then.
Yes.
And the fact that I come from Kakamega, I stay in Nairobi, are the reasons why I got the job. I wanted somebody familiar with those environments. So then eventually that job ended. Then I got a job with the Teacher Service Commission.
Okay.
That job is what I worked for 7 years. That's the transition I had from that job.
Perfect. I know you still have quite a lot to share about your life experience and much about in public service. So, the story you have really narrated. I want us to take, a short break, a commercial one, and then when we get back, let's much into your public service life, and of course now your life as a SRC commissioner. Thank you a lot. And send your comments. We'll be reading them at the tail end of our program.